Hello guys, welcome to metaphysicmedia.com. Today we're going to talk about the ancient giants who ruled America. And it's quite a great story and has quite a bit of evidence leading to those facts. So before we get to that, we're going to get to the book that shares all this information. And it was it has been written by Richard Dewhurst. And to take a look at that book, you can go to metaphysicmedia.com/books/the-ancient-ruled-America. And if you want to read the book, you can buy it there. I just purchased it the other day, and I've gotten through it, and I absolutely loved it. So anyway, let's get to the article and some of the information contained in the book. How much do we know about the possibilities of the ancient giants who ruled America? This Richard Dewhurst book shares a ton of information. Richard Dewhurst, an Emmy Award-winning writer of the HBO feature documentary Dear America, Letters from Vietnam, wrote a book entitled The Giants Who Ruled America, which shows accounts of the missing giant skeletons and the most amazing Smithsonian cover-ups in history. The height of the ancient giants in America that lived on the North American continent thousands of years ago, according to Dewhurst, had an average of 7 to 9 feet tall, with occasional cases up to 10 and 12 and even 18 feet tall. They were deemed to be robust physical specimens with elongated skulls and huge lower jaws that can fit a whole human head. That's pretty scary. In Richard Dewhurst's book, The Ancient Giants Who Ruled America, he also mentions the Caucasian backgrounds and gorilla characteristics of the giants with blonde or red hair. Also known as the Mound Builders, the ancient giants in America traveled the landscapes of Ohio, Wisconsin, Minnesota, and other parts of America. Dewhurst, specifically noting Newark, Ontario, claimed that they owned a city of about 150 acres and had built a civilized nation. They were considered as intelligent and agrarian species, building houses with chimneys, working with different metals like gold, silver, and copper, creating objects from wrought iron or steel through blacksmithing, and creating quality pottery and mummifying dead bodies even. Evidence of ritual sacrifices were also found, but the giants were not said to be barbaric. Effigy and burial mounds were also sacredly landscaped by the giants. Discussed in his book, The Ancient Giants Who Rule America, a place called the Cemetery of the Giants was found in Newark, where 200 giant remains were discovered. These findings continued to New York, Florida, and Catalina. A papyrus covered 9 feet 4 inch king and his 8-foot queen were found at a burial mound in Marion, Ohio, in addition to the other 7 giant burials in the location. Multiple number of 12-footers were also dug up in Louisiana. The tallest recorded giant, towering at 18 feet tall, was obtained in West Hickory, Ohio. He was wearing an iron helmet beside his 9-foot sword. The Paiute Indian tribes called the ancient giants in America as the Si-Te-Ka, or tool eaters, which coincidentally referred to as Lake Lohantan, a fresh body of water destroyed by the Mount Lassen volcano eruption in 5000 BC. Dewhurst explained how the last of the giant races were driven inside the Loch Love Cave, and also called the Bat Guano Cave, and set them on fire. University researchers found groups of 6 to 8 giant remains inside. He thought that the Mongolian invasion that also brought the Black Plague was a contributing factor to the disappearance of the race. He also estimated the numbers of skeletons in storage are about 30,000. That is a ton. Unexamined and uncatalogued from various areas like Pennsylvania, Alabama, California, and Virginia. Unfortunately, a huge amount of these artifacts are suppressed by the Smithsonian Institution. Very sad. So what does the book The Ancient Giants Who Ruled America reveal about the cover-up by the Smithsonian on all of these artifacts and skeletons? The Richard Dewhurst book introduced an explorer and geologist by the name of John Wesley Powell. He was the director of the Bureau of Ethnology at the Smithsonian Institute in the late 1800s. He wrote a book entitled On the Limitation of Use of Certain Anthropological Data. And contained a policy called the Powell Doctrine. This basically states that the inhabitants of the North American continent before Columbus and any evidence supporting a civilized society should be discarded and hidden. Dewhurst also stated how the Smithsonian's always had an involvement, directly or indirectly, to stash away the evidences. They found a way of shipping and keeping the proofs to themselves. They bought bones sold as souvenirs and got the local museums to get these items to them and have them give them up. According to Dewhurst, the goal of suppression of the skeletons by the Smithsonians for at least 150 years now is to protect the principal foundation of their institution, the theory of evolution. They firmly believed that the humans and the ancient giants in America inherited characteristics of biological populations over successive generations. Anything that opposed that or proved the Bible accurate was considered to be unscientific and was meant to be kept. Having giants who were bigger and smarter simply contradicted their proposition. The knowledge and familiarity of the people about the existence of these creatures were widespread in the 19th century. But as the time progressed and the policies of the Smithsonian became paramount, the awareness of the people about the giants died out. This was even reinforced by the passing of the law in 1990 called the Native American Graves Protection and Repatriation Act, or NAGPRA. This depicts the privileges of Native American lineal relatives, Indian tribes, and Native Hawaiian associations regarding the medication, repatriation, and disposition of Native American human remains or skeletons, funerary items, and sacred objects. This law interfered with the discovery, studying, and revelation of the skeletons to the world since they were claimed by the local Indians. For example, the remains of the giant king and the queen from Loch Love Cave that was found were just filed away and declared to be 1,000 years old without actually being examined in any way. In 1998, archaeologists from University of California heard about the remains and came down to Nevada to begin testing on the bones, and found out that they were 9,500 years old. A group of Indian tribes, however, tried to claim them. A 10-year legal battle was held for this issue. Finally, in 2004, scientists were finally legally allowed to test these and discovered that they had a Caucasian origin. Dewhurst said that the purpose of writing the book The Ancient Giants Who Rule America was to raise awareness to the consciousness of people about the truth regarding ancient giants in America, and to get the Smithsonians to step forward and get the 30,000 stored skeletons examined and tested. It's tough to imagine a world with dinosaurs and mammoths romping around the world. Similarly, visualizing the ancient giants is hard. The biblical assertion to the existence of the giants in the Genesis is straightforward. Richard Dewhurst, in his book The Ancient Giants Who Ruled America, confirms with a meticulous and substantial research on the ancient giants that were giants in the prehistoric Americas. Gleaning a multitude of evidence supporting the hard-to-believe stories of ancient giants, the Richard Dewhurst book probes into the Smithsonian's suppression of the physical evidence of those ancient giants for nearly 150 years. He also asserts that the Smithsonian Institution began to its suppression from 1879, when it takes John Wesley Powell as a Smithsonian's director. The Richard Dewhurst book contains many dedicated years of delving into the stories about the ancient giants in America, and he ends up with an astonishing assertion that all these stories about the ancient giants are not made up just to hoax people's fantasy. They evidently ruled the Americas. This assertion has resulted from the painstaking research and endeavor to dig out the facts about the ancient giants who ruled America for centuries back in the prehistoric age. So are these stories about the ancient giants in America believable? What evidence is included as part of the research contained in Richard Dewhurst's book, The Ancient Giants Who Ruled America? Though these stories about the ancient giants sound somewhat obfuscated, but through his research on the American history and the existence of the ancient giants in America, the Richard Dewhurst book asserts his indisputable conclusion. Any evidence of giants on Earth, Richard Dewhurst contends, these stories about the ancient giants in America are based on facts, not just hoaxes or theories. Richard Dewhurst accounts the role of the age-old storytellers of categorizing the height and the height of the ancient giants. These ancient legends and stories about the ancient giants hint at the height of those ancient giants. There were a large number of storytellers who say that the ancient giants were between 7 and 9 feet tall, whereas Richard Dewhurst corroborates that there are multiple cases that assure that they were up to 12 feet. Moreover, Richard Dewhurst also counts an instance of a 18-foot giant. The reference instances and evidence Richard Dewhurst provides are the distant past of North America from the reputable newspapers of North America, verified by the multiple witnesses, museum associations, and Smithsonian involvement. Now, surpassing locality of the North America, Richard Dewhurst is aiming at the different part of the globe to extend his research. In his book, The Ancient Giants Who Rule America, the Richard Dewhurst book refers to a 150-acre city on the Grand River of Dunnville, Newark, Ontario, where there are several traces of ancient giants America are found. Several giant burials, houses, chimneys, a blacksmith's forge, 2 tons of charcoal around the forge, and evidence of gold, silver, and the works. More interestingly, besides the Grand River surroundings, there were more traces in other places around North America. For example, in Cayuga, Newark, research found a place where 200 giants of around 7 to 9 feet tall were found. Instances and traces have been discovered from the New York State to Florida and up to the west coast to Catalina Island. Besides, there are just a number of traces of Native American giants. The legend is that these mounds were erected by the ancestors, and those ancestors are definitely the American giants who ruled America many years ago. In the Richard Dewhurst book, he believes that the civilizations of the giants in America were collapsed sometimes between 1200 AD and 1400 AD. The Indian accounts affirm that the ancient giants and the civilization were destroyed by the impacts of both natural calamities and reoccurrent epidemics. The Patois Indians of Nevada and Arizona generally call those ancient giants as the CTK, that is, tool eaters. This reference alludes the Lake Lohontan, and huge freshwater lake destroyed by the prehistoric Lassen volcanic eruption around 5000 BC. The first director of the Smithsonian Bureau of Ethology, John Wesley Powell, in 1879, issued the first official paper on the subject of the ancient giants, on the limitations of the use of certain anthropological data, arguing that the finds and the discoveries made in the America existing in the writing have no absolute proof. His official policy becomes the Powell Doctrine, which disallowed any evidence of pre-Columbian contact. Even till now, most of the skeletons of the giants are confiscated or grabbed or hidden before anybody gets a chance to really see them under the Smithsonian involvement. From the 19th century, Smithsonian showed a particular contempt for these finds. There were a 9-foot giant found in San Diego, and the Smithsonian bought that giant skeleton. Everything disappeared to prevent the growing public interest. So Richard Dewhurst affirms his position about the ancient giants in America, and that is mysterious and grotesque fact that the Smithsonian is suppressing these findings, whereas it is expected that they would rather have a particular interest in these findings of the ancient giants in America. The most depressing thing is researchers found the bones and skeletons of those ancient giants, but all the traces just disappeared. Richard Dewhurst raises his concern about this issue. So are there any cases today that are discussed in the book Ancient Giants Who Ruled America about how tall they were and how long they live? Richard Dewhurst tells us that the 9-foot-tall Robert Wadlow in modern times had suffered from gigantism, a kind of tumor on the pituitary gland that the giants were not likely to Robert Wadlow of suffering from this kind of gigantism. He asserts that the ancient giants were robust humans devoid of such diseases. Richard Dewhurst also confirms that the ancient giants were not wild people or cannibals. There are evidence of ritual sacrifices in their civilization. They had, in fact, a mound builder culture which was pastoral. There's no evidence of defensive land parts. They had an excellent intelligence. Richard believes that the Smithsonian has been policing the physical evidence of the ancient giants in America for at least 150 years. About the origins of those ancient giants, the Richard Dewhurst book says about their vast field of contact. The ancient giants' culture has contact not only in America, but all over then Europe as well as Indo-Asian. Richard Dewhurst thinks that they died most possibly of epidemic and disasters, through they had survived quite a long time in America, but there was a sudden decaying around 1200 AD. Richard also thinks that the Mongolian invasion may have contributed to the vanishing process of the ancient giants. About a number of discovered giants, Richard gives an amazing hint. He affirms that the Smithsonian may have more than 30,000 skeletons in their storage, and they are hiding these from public exposure. So to sum up the basic concerns from Richard Dewhurst's giant research and the study about the ancient giants and what is assembled in his book, The Ancient Giants Who Rule America, we may point out the undermentioned facts. Thousands of skeletons and ancient giants have been found so far, particularly from the ruins of the giant cities. 2. Evidence, accounts, and records of more than 400 years support the fact of the existence of these ancient giants. The Smithsonian suppression of hiding the giants' fact from the public is continuing for over 150 years to now present day. So that ends the story and some of the information inside the book. Like I said, once again, there's a lot more information in the book, a lot great ideas and thoughts that aren't covered in this article. And you can get that book if you go to www.metaphysicmedia.com/books the hyphen ancient hyphen giants hyphen who hyphen ruled hyphen America. So before we end it, end the podcast and webcast entirely, we're going to talk about some of the ways you can navigate and interact with my site to ask questions, get additional research, and whatnot. So in the podcast tab, this is the audio version only, which you may be listening to now, but it's also attached to the article from where it was written, and it's on YouTube. So if you want to watch the webcast version, you can see it on the article, or you can subscribe through YouTube. If you just want to listen, if you're on your smartphone, just want to listen to the audio version, you can go through this tab and do it this way. So subscribing, you can subscribe through email. Email is a great way to subscribe. I gave away lots of books like this book, but I give giveaway codes which I use in twitch.tv/metaphysicmedia, which I'm streaming video games while talking about the articles that I've written. So if you go through email and you see my free book code, I'll ask for the code during my Twitch stream, and whoever's the first person who throws it out there will get a free book. So it pays. That's the only way you can get the book code is through email. The only other emails that you'll get from me is a monthly email, which is basically a newsletter recapping the whole month, different ideas and thoughts from articles written along with ideas, thoughts, and research by our viewers and people who are subscribed to my site. So Facebook is the other way. You can just go to facebook.com/metaphysic.media. You can see all of the articles, and you can comment your ideas, thoughts. So it's a good way to keep in touch and comment that way. So twitch.tv/metaphysicmedia. This is where I will have the replays of the articles and audios playing while I'm playing video games. You can watch me play, and there's a chat there where you can ask me questions real time, and I will respond to them to the best of my knowledge. And you can talk with other people in the chat, and you can have a good old conversation. So it's kind of fun. So you can follow me on Twitter, so twitter.com/metaphysicmedia, and you'll get all the updates to all my new articles posted. You'll also get updated when I go live on my twitch.tv stream. Also, any videos that are posted will be updated there. And then also the last way to subscribe is YouTube. So youtube.com/metaphysicmedia. This way you'll get subscribed. You can see all the videos I've done for all the articles. You can comment on them. And it's just a great way to get some more information on all the stories and stuff we love. So stories. This is kind of cool. This is where if you have an idea, you want to interact, you have a story to tell. You can tell a story. If you saw a ghost, you saw a UFO, or if you want to contribute research and ideas to an article, you can submit a story under here. If you want to read some other people's stories that they've submitted, you can just go to recent stories. So submit a story. We like to have around I like to have around 300, at least 350 or more. I mean, the longer the story, the better, obviously. And then I'll share those stories with people on YouTube videos. So the video that I'm having now, I'd share at the end if it's a good one. And then I'll also share it during online streaming of games. And I'll post it on the website. And then people can comment on it from there. So that's pretty cool. So live stream is another tab. So if you can go to twitch.tv/metaphysicmedia, or you can view the stream live from this tab as it's embedded into my site. You just won't be able to do any of the chatting, but you will be able to watch and listen to the audio recordings. So contact us here if you want to contact. You have any, if you're a researcher, if you're an author, you want to do an interview, a portion on Skype or whatever, you can contact us this way. If you're an author and you already see that we have some research and article written on your book, but you have some images or additional research you want to contribute, you can do that too. So contact us. It's a wide range of whatever you want to do, and I'll get back to you quickly. And then About Us page, you can see my only paranormal experience I've ever had. I've never seen a UFO or anything, but this paranormal experiments is cool, and you can just read a little bit about me. And then also, if you want to donate, you can. Donations help keep the site running and help. I mean, any donation I receive goes directly back into the production and getting articles written and edited and research. That all goes back on the site. So this site is for everybody else to love and to research and just enjoy. So anyway, that concludes the audio and web version of the article that was written on the ancient giants who rule America. Have a great day. God bless, guys. Until next time.